indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Franklin County. And of course, each one of you have a copy of my budget message there in front of you.
Right, our first
I'll be talking through this.
item is our consent agenda. And we have an additional
Franklin County's mission,
item,
vision, values, and
item
goals. And of
P,
course, the Franklin County Board of
which is the
Commissioners met
amendment
on
to the
January
Franklin
25th
County
this year
Budget
for a
Ordinance,
budget forum.
fiscal year
And an
24,
updated
amendment number
mission, vision, values, and
14
goals document for
is a
Franklin County.
correction.
The
I need a
mission of
motion.
Franklin County continues to be to provide
So moved.
and support
Is there a second?
public service.
Motion
and
made,
expand
second. Any
economic
discussion?
opportunities. And so
All
there
in
were
favor,
items
say aye.
updated as a
Aye.
result
All
of the
likewise.
progress that's been made
Motion
in other
carries.
areas here in Franklin
All right,
County.
I'm going to run down this consent
Can I talk
agenda.
for a minute about the economic
Item A
development?
is the June 3rd, 2024
Franklin County's
minutes.
economy overall
Item
is
B
stable.
is June
Rising
10th,
costs for goods and
2024
services,
minutes. Item
decreased
C is
labor
a
pool
fiscal year
availability,
25 home and community care block grant for older adults county funding plan. Item D is Parks and Recreation Month proclamation 2024. Item E is releases, adjustments, refunds, and tax collection report. Item F is updated MOU for Campo and US1 Council of Planning. Item G is a budget ordinance amendment number 17. Item number H is the Emergency Medical Service Station Project Ordinance Amendment number 2. Item I is General Fund Capital Reserve Fund Budget Ordinance Amendment number 3. Item J is a PNEA North Apron Site Development Expansion Project Budget Ordinance Closeout. Item K is the Flock Group Incorporated contract, a multi-year contract. Item L is an audit contract for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024. Item M is Greenway easement dedication for Epson Park. Item N is a solid waste purchase of the used loader. Item O is Franklin County adding PBM defendants to complaint for opioid lawsuit. And our added on one was item P, is which I read as an amendment to the Franklin County Budget Ordinance, amendment number 14 correction. Oh, number 18? Okay, yeah, I got number 14. Okay. Do I need a motion on that, or is that?
So moved.
Okay. All right, all in favor? All likewise. Motion carries. All right, our next item is comments from the public. This is a time set aside by the Board of Commissioners to allow individuals 5 minutes to address the board on issues concerning the county. Our first speaker is Dewey Botts. Come on down, state your name and address for the clerk to the board.
Dewey Botts, 675 Howard Tant Road. That's about a mile south of Bunn. I wanted to comment on two things that are in the rears now: property values and the school funding. And I'm glad they wound up in the majority requests that were made. My wife and I moved to Franklin County to get out where we were born and raised in Alabama, out in the country. And we bought up a few parcels just to keep a buffer around us so we didn't have to hear the dogs and donkeys and guns and the likes of that. We didn't buy the property to start paying taxes, get taxed so much that we'd have to sell it. But we had 10 parcels, and as of probably today, we've had 225 inquiries in the last 4 years. I think one time before I came before you and I said I've started keeping them. They just keep coming, and they have their, it looks like a child wrote a note across one every game that's there and whatever, they're still coming. But anyway, our valuations went, I think, like most of the county. Of those 10, most of them were doubled. One was 3 times as much, one was 4 times as much, and one was 5 times as much as the previous evaluation. I went to appeal. It went, as the guy told me before I walked out. Of course, I think this was the week before a decision was made to relook at it. So he thought something, he said, I think you're going to be pleased. Well, I first asked him what was the next step, just sort of bluffing that if I didn't get what I wanted this time, I'd go somewhere else. But he said, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. And I'd like to know how many people did appeal, though. I would guess it's less than 1%. But we didn't, I wanted to think back. I got a bad memory, but didn't we go through this same thing like 6 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And didn't y'all have them go back and reevaluate again? Was it the same company?
No, it wasn't the same
Okay.
company, no.
Okay. Well, we went back, y'all went back again, and here we go back again now. And I'm just wondering what the orders are for those people and what to do. When I get a letter, I got one after this, and the county had changed it because the place we bought, the mobile home didn't have a tongue on it, so they turned, and it had an addition, so they call it something else now, a house. So they went and tripled the value of it. But I just, and on there it said that you're required to put 100% of the market value. You know, I'm not knocking where we are now with it, but how did we then and how do we now just go out and change it back? I assume that's what this next go-round is going to be. And when they have to go redo it, who do they pay for it, or do we pay for it? I'm not going to bet, but I expect we pay for it.
Mhm.
Okay, along the same lines of how that process went and sort of how it should have been is the school budget. And I didn't, these notes were written, some of you remember I came over here and decided not to speak because my frustration was more the people that were taking the heat than was subject matter. And as one of y'all had said, about 100 people had already said what I was going to say anyway. I was over here, but my notes were not after Gary Conard put similar notes in the Franklin Times. But it to me was embarrassing. And I'll be honest with you, I'm 80 years. I was in PTA 24 years. I was PTA president of the second largest high school in the state of North Carolina, and I was vice president of the Wake County PTA. So I've been through this stuff, but no way as to what happened here. And outsiders looking in, well, you saw Gary made a lot of good points there that I won't repeat, but it's very obvious. But we keep doing it. And I thought that we had done this, gone through that circus just last year. But I think he said it was 3 years in a row, 3 times we've gone through that jungle.
Yeah, your 5 minutes is expired, but I make a motion, we extend the session.
Second.
All
Thank
right,
you.
all in favor? All opposed?
No.
I think. Okay, go ahead.
No.
I vote to extend the session.
No.
I'm sorry, you got voted down.
Okay. Well, this is not sustainable, what we're doing.
Okay,
Uh,
I'm sorry.
And y'all are accountable, but management's responsible to make y'all look good and get the job done. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right. Next speaker is Tim Gupton.
Good afternoon. My name is Tim Gupton. I reside at 909 Grays Mill Road, Lewisburg. Mr. Pierce, I tried to cut my notes down for you. Tonight, I wish to speak on behalf of also the property reevaluations, mainly in reference to the lack of professionalism shown by Mr. Pearson and his company. Unlike many, I don't speak on behalf of myself. I speak on behalf of my parents, age 82 and soon to be 86, and also an elderly gentleman, age 83, who will refer only as Mr. NB. And I'll tell you shortly why I refer to him as Mr. NB only. So where do we begin? March of this year, my parents received their tax reevaluation forms. March 21st of this year, 7:52 a.m., we, as we were told to do, file those forms. As our tax reevaluator told us to do, it was a very simple process. We filed that online. However, if it hadn't been for me, my parents and many other elderly individuals would not have been able to do so because my parents do not have a computer. My parents do not have, they do have internet, but many individuals in our area do not have the internet. That's a different topic that Mr. Speed knows very much a lot about. 8:32 that night, I received an email that said, from Catherine Lane from Pearson's Appraisal Service, said, "We have received your appeal information. A member of the staff will be in contact with you shortly." April 15th, Mr. Pearson appears before the board and says that most of those appeals processes have been taken care of. I had not received a word. April 18th, I went to the Register of Deeds office, printed the documents that would be needed for that appeal process, went to the tax office, and I was told to call a number. Called that number and got yet another voicemail telling me to call another number. Called that number and they said that the appeal process had been closed. However, being from Franklin County, a friend of mine works there. She told me if I went to the old tax office that I could see a real life person. I didn't believe her. So I went to the old tax office and I did find a real live person. Around 10:10, I entered the old tax office. I encountered several individuals, and that's where I met Mr. NB. I had no idea who Mr. NB was. However, Mr. NB was 83 years old. He entered the office. He met Mr. Jerry Bowers. Mr. NB, I found out a lot about him, and I found out a lot about him because there was absolutely no privacy whatsoever in that building. There was 3 open spaces. There was a lobby there that had no privacy whatsoever. He was questioned about a lot of his property. Mr. Jerry Bowers asked him what he used his property for. Mr. NB was walking around, hearing impaired, had a walker. Mr. NB told him he used it for absolutely nothing because he could barely get around. Mr. Bowers was very rude to Mr. NB to the point that I almost went to defend Mr. NB myself, but Mr. NB was able to take care of himself. So I stayed in place. 10:28, another gentleman came in. He had an appointment at 10:30, but he was told to have a seat, that I was next in line, although I didn't have an appointment. I entered the room. I was basically treated, I was prepared because I had the documentation that the commissioners and our tax assessor and Mr. Pearson told me to have. However, Mr. Bowers told me it didn't matter what documents I had, what my commissioners told me to have, what my tax assessor or no one else told me to have, that it was his job to tell me what I needed to do. He presented me with some information, presented me some documents, houses, basically told me that the renovations that I was showing him were cheaply done. Basically what I'm saying is this. The process that we have, I guess, we went with the low bid. This gentleman obviously provided us with low quality work, provided us with disrespectful services. It's amazing how this system flows. I would argue that the quality work we got was basically what we paid for. We as citizens deserve better. You guys obviously deserve better. This guy did not give us the work we deserved. So overall, we need to do a little bit better than what we've done with Mr. Pearson and his services. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. More importantly, thank you all for what you do.
Thank you. All right, next speaker is Mr. Scott Strickland.
Good evening, Commissioner. Scott Strickland, 46 Lane, Lewisburg, North Carolina. Well, I won't gonna talk about reevaluation, but me and everybody else brought it up. I'm gonna start off. You know, I got a letter from my insurance company when this first come out. They canceled me because the reevaluation, they didn't go out there and really do a good job. They said my house was a prefab house. You know, my house was moved off of 401. It was 1938 old schoolhouse off of 401, and we remodeled it years ago, stick built. And quickly went down there, and Marion helped me get it straightened out so I could get my insurance back. You know, how many more folks had to go through this that folks didn't get out and go really look at these houses and what they are? You know, I lost everything, you know, as far as my insurance, because without getting it straightened out, nobody would carry it because they don't like carrying the prefab houses. And so, but we got it straightened out and we back online, and so that's a good thing. The next thing I want to talk about is pass along to everybody. We got a blood drive going on. The bun cert is moving along. We have been really blessed with stuff that's going on in this county. June the 22nd, the Blueberry Festival down at Valma Farm. Please come out and support a good cause. They're going to help us out with a donation from that for the bun cert. Along with that, we went to training June the 1st up at Youngsville at the Waco Electric. I learned about some stuff, and I've been working with the county for a couple of months now. We met with them, and we're doing this AED registry thing. So while I was up there, we learned about that they would help us with a grant. So I filled out a grant for Franklin County to try to get some boxes to put out at the parks and stuff to put AEDs in, along with this mapping that Christie's office is going to do with the AEDs. And hopefully we can have a code where if it is emergency, they can tell them what the code is, get the AED, and do what they need to do. At a later point, you know, I'm going to come back and ask y'all to please match this, because every park needs to have a AED. You know, that automatic defibrillator is a great thing, because you don't never know, walking, having a cardiac arrest. It's not even old people now, it's young people. I mean, and so we took on that task with the bun cert to do this, and we're supposed to hear something back in the latter part of July on this grant, and hopefully it's a $5,000 grant, and we could only get one AED and 2 heated and cool boxes out of that. And we had to break it down. So we feel pretty good about it. They're pretty good about helping organizations like us get the job across. And the other thing, you know, don't count us out, you know, when Mr. Bunn's kinfolks was missing. You know, that's what my group does. You know, we go out for disasters, emergencies and stuff. We search for people. Don't hesitate to call and reach out. That's what we're here for. I mean, we have people all over, and you know, I just thank God that Tony Horton found that car over there. You know, after 13 days, that's a long time. That's a long time. And so, you know, we're there. We're a resource to the county, and all you got to do is call Nick, and he gets us out there. So, you know, and that's what we do, and we're available night or day. So don't hesitate to call. We're here. And we appreciate everything y'all do. But I just wanted to bring that, you know, to your attention, that exciting things are happening with my group, and we're really excited. Thank y'all.
Thank you. All right, our next speaker is Dawkins Steffer. I don't know if I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah. Your handwriting is threw me a little bit. Anyway.
All right, Chairman Foy, Franklin County Commissioners, County Manager Denton, appreciate the opportunity to address y'all this evening. The item of concern, and while we're here this evening, is in reference to Agenda Item D, which is the Board of Equalization and Review. I wanted to articulate some of the concerns that we have on behalf of town of Franklinton about the impacts of extending the appeal process to what's presumably until October 31st. We passed our budget back in March. We've anxiously waited for the county to complete the budget process and to feel reassured that we can make the hiring decisions to bring on additional police officers and Parks and Recreation staff and public works team members. We waited for that process to conclude. We've hired 2 police officers to start on July 1st. They've put their notice in at their agencies, and they're planning to start work on July 1st. If this appeal process is continued out all the way through October, bless you, I'm very concerned about our ability to make payroll. That's a long time for that appeal process to be continued to, and that erodes our tax base and our ability to generate the type of revenue that we've budgeted for. So I'd ask for the Board of Commissioners to consider the impacts on what this will do to the towns in Franklin County. I spoke to the town of Youngsville earlier this evening. They share in the same concerns. I would imagine that the town of Lewisburg and Bunn would also share in similar concerns about the impacts this will have on our communities. We've tried to be responsible stewards of the taxpayers' dollars. We try to make strategic hiring decisions. In years past, we've combined police officer positions just to be able to stay competitive to keep officers on the road. And right now, when we're just now seeing a glimmer of hope that we're able to fully staff our police department and to provide the level of public safety that our citizens deserve, to have that rug pulled out from under us is very concerning. So I come to you with concerns for our public safety and also concerns to be able to conduct the operations of the town in a reliable and fiscally responsible way. So I'd ask that you please consider concluding the appeal process and conclude this process and allow us to carry out our budget as we've anticipated. And I do that mainly on behalf of the folks that their livelihood is riding on this. They're anticipating, they've given their notice to their employers. They can't just turn back now and go back to where they're leaving. They're counting on this budget moving forward as we anticipated. So greatly appreciate your consideration, and thank you for all you do on behalf of Franklin County. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, our next speaker is Miss Judy McArn.
Good evening. I'm Judy McCarn. I'm at 101 North Main Street, Franklinton. I am a town commissioner for Franklinton, and I'm here tonight to speak regarding on the Board of Equalization. The town of Franklinton has spent a great deal of time and many, many months making sure our budget is in place for July the 1st. We have followed the process with our budget, and that budget depends on a lot of what Franklin County commissioners decide. And we have thoroughly made sure that we could implement our budget effective July the 1st. So it's super important for each town, Bunn, Youngsville, Franklinton, to make sure that that we have a good budget for July the 1st. Implementing this process with the Board of Equalization greatly affects the safety of our citizens, the safety of every citizen in Franklin County, in the town of Franklinton, in the town of Youngsville, and the town of Bunn. So we have worked very, very hard to get where we are. I'm very, very proud of what the town of Franklinton has done. But we need to make sure that where our citizens are protected, are safe, and our budgets, and we need to get the staff, the budgets and the staff that they need so that they can do their jobs properly. So I ask you to really consider voting no on this Board of Equalization. And you've done your budget. We don't need to have our budgets affected any further. Thank you for your time and all the work that you do.
All right, thank you. Next speaker is Mr. Bill Moss.
Good evening. Thank you very much. There are 2 topics I want to briefly address. I'll try to fit it within 5 minutes. First topic is the system development fee proposal before this board tonight. The second topic is the Youngsville bypass. As you may recall, back on May 6th, this topic of the system development fee was brought before this board. My brother and I expressed great concerns in terms of going forward with a vote on it at that time. We, along with others, requested additional time to evaluate the report and to evaluate and to have the opportunity to submit a comment if appropriate. My understanding is a couple of comments were submitted. My brother and I did not submit comments. We have looked at the proposal, and frankly, much of it is over our head. So I'll jump to the bottom line. Bottom line is this county needs water. This county needs to move forward. This is the way to provide funding, and we hope that this board will adopt the proposal as made. I think it's a very important step in the right direction, and we, again, appreciate the opportunity to evaluate it to the extent, in my case, very limited extent, to understand it, but to understand the most important thing is this is the way forward, and we would encourage this commission to vote yes for it. Second, as to the Youngsville bypass, Nathan Page has requested for some time to be put on the agenda to give an update. I talked with him earlier today. He's been in communication with Manager Denton. It is my understanding that August 5th is a really good date for him and for Mayor Flowers. And on his behalf, we would ask that he be allowed to give an update as an agenda item on August 5th. As you all know, the Rolling Meadows project that my brother and I are involved in is an important part in the opportunity for the first leg of the bypass to be constructed using private money, which we think is an important factor for the county and the town. But there's a lot more that the town has done, and I think it would be good for everybody to get a clearer understanding of how much work the town is putting into this really important project. So August 5th would work well for everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, next speaker is Justin Hastings.
Good afternoon, folks. How are y'all? Good to see you. Here on behalf of the town of Franklinton, Port Commissioner McCarr, Town Manager Zach Steffi. I won't repeat a lot of the talking points that they had, but I feel the same way as far as coming to a conclusion on this reeval stuff. More here to talk about public safety and how not being able to conclude a budget and be finalized on July 1st, how it drastically affects public safety and the town's ability to provide police service to the citizens. So with that being said, I think everybody knows how public safety is right now as far as hiring, retention. It's hard to find qualified officers. As Town Manager Steffi said, we had to cut positions to be able to increase officer salaries, just to be able to retain them, to keep them to go into larger agencies. We're in Wake County, because it's right there, that are paying $10,000, $15,000 more for a police officer position than we're able to pay based on our budget restrictions. So in conclusion, like I said, we just need to come to a conclusion on this. That's it.
Thank you. All right, next speaker is James Davis Jr.
Good evening, Board. I'm James Davis Jr. I'm the Chief of Police and representing Franklinton. Just to go off on what the town manager said, my captain and our commissioner, we have two positions that we hired for. Those folks have left their other jobs and waiting for July 1st, and that's less than 2 weeks. And like my captain said, is officer safety. I've been rebuilding that department for 4 years. And we just need that reval to go through so we can be able to move on and move forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, our next speaker is Dan Tingen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Dan Tingen, and I've come before you to speak on item 4B. It concerns the system development fee. On May the 6th, you all voted to extend the public comment period for 30 days, and we very much appreciate you giving us time to do that. We were a little behind the curve on the noticing on that proposal, and it gave us time to respond. We being the Franklin County Home Builders Association, did respond to that item. We sent in comments. I'm not sure that you all have had copies. I certainly hope you have. The comments were really directed at you all, not a consultant or not the staff, but it's you guys that are the decision makers for Franklin County. And as Mr. Moss spoke earlier, from the building and development community, we certainly understand the importance of this item, the expansion of our water primarily at this point, but at some point it'll be sewer. We understand our responsibility and our obligations as being building and development industry in this county of how important that's going to be. We accept that responsibility, but we also would ask that the county give adequate consideration to how that money is being handled. The money's going to be raised over the next several years or an extended period of time. I don't know that there's a date it'll be reviewed. I think that you all review it every 5 or 6 years. But at any rate, there's a considerable amount of money with the development activity that's coming to Franklin County that's going to be raised, and we want to know that when we need funds to do expansions, this money is set aside and being raised for that purpose, that you guys have taken the adequate steps to be sure the money's there when it's needed. And that was just one of the comments. If you all have not seen the comments, I'll be happy to provide each one of you a copy of those comments. They were brief, but very much to the point. And I hope if you haven't, that in the future, that comments that the public makes, particularly in written form, would be provided to you so you would have a chance to personally review them and not just take the summary remarks from your staff. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, that concludes our public comment section. I'd just like to make a quick note here or whatever in regards to our revaluation for the county. And we as county commissioners are going to be running some meetings here real soon, the Board of Equalization and Review. So if you don't think your reval's right or your amount of increase or decrease, be it, come and get up on that Board of Equalization and Review, and hopefully that'll be coming here real soon. Anyway, all right, moving on to the next item is item number 3, public hearings. There's item A is a request for special use 24-SUP-01. And item B is a request for special use 24-SUP-02. Mr. Hammerbachen, you want to go ahead and make your present before we go into the public hearing?
I believe we need to open the public hearing and I need to be sworn in.
A motion made and second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.
Yes, sir. I do. Scott Hammerbacher, 127 South Dickett Boulevard, Lewisburg, North Carolina, 27549.
Good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight we have as noted, a special use permit this evening. Submitted by Stocks Engineering, the board for a special use permit to construct a county EMS station on a 2.01 acre tract along NC 39 in the Button Township. The subject property is located within R30 residential zoning district and highway overlay district. According to the applicant, the proposed facility is expected to enhance emergency service access, coverage, and response time in the community it serves. In addition, will provide a safe, code compliant, and secure space for EMS staff, ambulances, and equipment. Attached here, we have a vicinity map showing the subject property. Currently, this proposal is to construct basically a 2.01 acre, or of that overall parcel outlined in purple. The green outlined area next to Bud Middle School is the subject site for this evening. Surrounding land uses include Bud Middle School, forested land, agricultural, and residential uses within the vicinity of this project. As noted, it is zoned R30 and is in close proximity to the Bund zoning jurisdiction along NC 39. So the applicant is required to meet all UDO application or requirements. What we have before you this evening is a submission and meeting all those requirements going forward, and I'll go touch on some of those being overly specific. And just as a reminder, the board can allow reasonable conditions to be placed on the special use permit should you deem it acceptable. Attached, we have a site plan. I don't believe you can see my mouse here, but we're showing two driveways coming off NC 39 with stormwater detention device in the northeast corner, a septic drain field, and then we have a EMS station with appropriate staff parking, and it does appear that the ambulances will be served internally. As required by our ordinance, they are required to have architecture. I mean, there are architectural standards all along NC 39. It does meet those requirements. Basically, we're seeing a brick facade being proposed for the majority of the building. Where it borders residential properties to the north and to the east, west, they have provided a 20-foot landscape buffer as required. In addition to that, they do have landscaping along the front, and there is a 20-foot dedication for a future greenway. To be clear, there's no construction requirement set forth with this proposal or per the ordinance. These are the building elevations from each side. The bottom one would be the front elevation, which you'd see from NC 39 predominantly going forward. We do have a lighting plan for this. There is lighting proposed. It does meet all of our applicable standards of basically 0.2 horizontal or foot candles at the property line. These would be going forward. Should this board deem this application unworthy or meet all findings of fact as necessary, we would suggest the following conditions of approval: adherence to all other UDO adopted plans and NC building code requirements, securing a driveway permit from NC DOT, final tar Pamlico stormwater approval. That needs to be, the calculations and such need to be completed prior to the issuance of a zoning permit and subsequent building permit. Approval of erosion control plan from the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality. Completion of the subdivision of the subject property and dedication of the pedestrian easement. Receipt of mitigation transfer certificate demonstrating payment in the nutrient bank prior to zoning permit approval. A stormwater operation maintenance agreement shall be submitted and recorded prior to zoning permit approval. As-built drawings from stormwater and inspection reform for the stormwater control measure shall be submitted prior to the certificate of occupancy. Before we approve the final building, that needs to be in place. And then lastly, all landscaping must be installed prior to the issuance of a CO. Be happy to answer any questions you have at this time.
Any board members have any questions? Hearing none.
Well, my question, I guess we have to require, as far as the building, we have approved the building plan and all for the EMS building out of the airport. Is this gonna be similar, or is it gonna be planned?
I'm not aware of those plans.
Okay,
Yeah,
Ms.
this is the first step, the opportunity to appropriately zone this property, and then the next steps that follow will be
I was just wondering, cause
those
it
presentations.
probably save us money just to do the same.
Drawings.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
that would be the intention, but
Okay.
again, this is the first step, and
Right.
once we're beyond this step, those things will happen.
I believe the applicant is here as well.
Okay. Come on up.
Hi, I'm
We'll
here.
need to get you sworn in.
Okay. Ready?
Left hand on the Bible and raise your right. Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
If you will state your name and address for the record.
Tim Williams at 104 Tuscarora Drive in Hillsborough, North Carolina. And I'm here with Oakley Collier Architects. I'm here to answer any questions. Also representing the civil engineer, Stocks Engineering, that we worked with on this special use permit. And maybe I'll start that what you mentioned was the intent to this point right now, the prototype. It of course is a different site, so civil is different, or the site engineering, as is some of the connections for the mechanical, plumbing, and electrical. But other than that, the building is expected to be a prototype. Are there any other questions?
Any questions from any of the other commissioners?
No, we should, ask him a couple of questions. Was this, the use or development, designed to promote the public health and safety and general welfare of the community?
Mhm.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Being an EMS station, we feel it is absolutely promoting the health, safety, and welfare of the locale in the area.
Mm-hmm. And does the use or development comply with the regulations of the UDO of our county?
Yes, ma'am. As our application was accepted, and Scott and Jason reviewed all things before accepting the application.
And is this EMS station use or development a public necessity?
Yes, ma'am. We feel that it is promoting health, safety, and welfare of the public, as it is a EMS station meant to provide shorter emergency response times to the area.
Okay. And was that the proposed design proposed to maintain or enhance the value of the contiguous property?
Yes, we feel it. The nature of the building is very close to the school building it is next to, while kind of maintaining a residential kind of scale and materiality to the neighbors for future residential neighbors.
Mm-hmm. And does this development conform with the general development plans of the county, our comprehensive development plan?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we believe it works with it, although it is not directly zoned as residential, it being a sort of auxiliary use, as all residents need a local EMS station.
Okay. And the location and arrangement of the use on site, screening, buffering, landscaping, and pedestrian ways, is that in harmony with the adjoining properties and to minimize the adverse impacts?
No, we don't foresee adverse impacts. It should, the UDO covers that well, as far as maintaining buffers and elevations also, so that it ensures that you blend in well with your surroundings.
Okay. And I'm assuming that this being an EMS station, that all of utilities, school, fire, and police, and other necessary and private facilities and services will be adequate to handle this use.
Yes, ma'am. We see this as an added benefit, as one of those, as being an emergency response department.
All right. That's all the.
And anything else?
I think that finishes the checklist, right?
Covers the checklist.
All right. Any other commissioners have comments?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
hold on. Oh, we're
Are you
gonna
Mr.
recognize.
Brantley?
Yes.
You Mr. Brantley? Okay.
Okay.
If
All
you'll
right,
just
thank you.
stick around in case Mr. Brantley has some questions for you.
Sure.
Okay, so prior to the hearing, an application to present at this hearing today was Mr. David Brantley. Can you step forward?
Good evening, board. She said David, I go by Chris.
Go by Chris, okay.
Yes, I see a lot of familiar faces here. I live at.
But wait, before, can we get you sworn in? Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, yes, ma'am.
State your name and address, please.
David C. Brantley or Chris Brantley, 4723 Highway 39, Bullen, North Carolina. Been a lifetime resident of Franklin County. Had my own business here for about 43 years this year. Never had a job outside of Franklin County. First, I support 100% the construction of this proposed emergency safety service building. Just had a couple questions. First question is, the sheet that came in the mail announcing the public hearing said the 64.68 acres. Are we looking at the rezoning 2 acres, or is the county in negotiation for the whole farm?
Okay, so that's a,
It'd be just 2 acres.
it's just the 2 acres, but I shouldn't be the one answering that question. Sure, you surely can. Well, hold on, you might want to step up so that the mic can catch you. If you don't mind standing next to me.
Yeah, we're good.
Yes, sir. It's, or no, it's just 2.01 acres of that percent.
Okay, very good. Has there, in the mornings and in the afternoons, there's already a really tough traffic situation there. Has there been any traffic surveys done?
The station is such a small one that we're only expecting less than 10 people there in a 24-hour stretch.
Okay, it's just a question I had. What about Bunn Middle School has around 580 students. Has there been any studies done on the siren impact of those kids and learning in the school situation? I'm just curious.
Not to my knowledge, but we see that as a kind of everyday occurrence of emergency response.
But with the center adjacent to the school will be the closest building to this emergency. I'm just wondering, there's some pretty good studies out there if you do a little bit of reading with impacts on students. So I think it's something we should consider. And to my last point, is there an ordinance, an agreement that maybe unless there's an emergency, that there's a traffic issue right in front of the school, that we do not start the sirens until after we get out of the school zone? Is that something that could be done? I'm just curious.
That's something if that can or can't be done.
Right. I think that would alleviate some concerns. I understand there can be emergencies that you got to get out. There's a line of cars at the school, you got to blast and go out quick. But other times at 2 a.m., do we need, or if it's in the middle of the day, kids are in classroom, do we need a siren? Just a question. There are my concerns. Thank you, board. Thank you for answering.
Thank you.
But, Mr. Chairman, based on that, I don't think there are any other, no one else has applied to speak in this hearing, so I think that concludes that.
Amber Balkan?
Yes, sir. I believe would your next step be to close the public hearing and then consider the 2 subsequent motions?
Just make sure there's nobody else here wishing to make public comment on this issue. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to end.
So moved. Second.
Motion made and second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.
All right.
So that was the first motion to affirm the findings of fact, to be clear. And the second motion would be consider approval of the special use permit with staff recommended conditions.
Okay, but the approval of this.
So the first one was for the findings of fact.
Right.
Mr.
Action
Chairman.
request and consider approval of a special use permit requested by Stocks Engineering, PA, to construct a Franklin County Emergency Services facility off of North Carolina 39 Highway South, parcel ID 028575.
So moved.
Motion. Second? Okay, motion made, second. Any discussion?
Is this just for the findings of fact, not actually approving?
It should be the findings of, this first motion should be for the findings of fact, saying that they have been met or have not been met. I'm assuming the motion is that they have been met. Is that the motion? Okay.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next item, go on to item B, which is a request for a special use. Excuse me, no?
So the special, so that you need to now do the motion to approve the special use permit if you've adopted the findings of
Okay.
that.
Okay, up for a motion for approval of the
Mr. Chairman,
special
I
use permit.
Make a motion, we accept the requested action.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made and second, any discussion?
I would like to, what can we do to address Mr. Brentley's concerns about the lights and sirens and give him some assurance that every call, they're not gonna be running them and blasting the sirens, especially, like he said, at 2 a.m. when it's not really super necessary. Ken, is there something we can put in place to address that?
And like you say, early wee hours of the morning.
Yeah, or then even during
I'm
school
sure
times,
there's
if it's
something that
not
can be
a
done.
true life or death emergency.
Christie wants to speak, and then I can add something as well,
Okay, sure.
if that's okay. Is that okay, Gina?
Yeah.
Currently, EMS responds non-emergency and emergency based on the information that we're given from the caller. And we're actually working with EMS to scale that and narrow it down to where they'll be running lights and sirens to the most emergency situations and no lights and sirens when they don't have to.
It's standard procedure.
Yeah.
Yeah, already.
We do that now, but we're gonna actually make it streamline it a little better as we're in the process of that now. So if that helps with that concern any.
So what you're saying is that right now the county doesn't have a standard operating procedure or a guideline in place currently to curtail or to adjust to a pattern of behavior as you just
They
described,
currently
but there is discussion within management that this is the path forward, how we need to conduct EMS calls in the very near future.
They do currently respond to some calls without lights and sirens based on the protocols and how we adjust the call, how the caller tells us what's going on. So they can respond no emergency, or depending on the situation, they can turn on lights and sirens. And we're dwindling that down because obviously it's safer for everybody if they don't need to run lights and sirens that they don't.
I would think that it would be reasonable for us as the board to ask the government and county management to make something more specific to upon exiting the station and entering into the highway, if you're in a neighborhood area where there is a house, at least just even one, that at certain hours before 7 a.m. and after 11 p.m. that, it is a silent exit of the building as you begin your call to service until you get out on the highway and get to a speed greater than this posted speed limit, wherein that's when liability becomes its biggest, correct? So that's the whole part of the backside of how we respond in the public safety community is there's license hire for liability.
I'm sure as we keep going through the EMD determinants that we can work with EMS and dwindle that down and get it to a right point.
As we grow and EMS gets more busy, I think it's more prudent and reasonable that we be more aware of that.
Right.
And guide our policies accordingly. So,
Okay.
You're
All right, thank you.
Can we get an update on that by our next meeting from our emergency?
County manager.
people?
The best we can by the next meeting. Yes, we can. Yeah. See where we're at. Right.
All right, anything else, Commissioner Bowman? Good. All right, any other commissioner? Questions, concerns? Right.
Just need to call for a vote.
Their motion and second on the floor, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. That's our next move, is item B. Request for special use 24 SUP-02. So we'll have to go make a motion, go. call for
Mr. Chairman, I
public
make a
hearing.
motion to open public hearing for item 3B.
A motion made and second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. In public hearing. Scott Hammerbach, Planning Director, will provide a presentation regarding that 24 SUP-02. Special use permit has been requested by the Franklin County to construct a 141-foot elevated water tower off Mays Crossroad, parcel ID 045385. Anyone who wishes to participate in the hearing is asked to review the documents listed below and submit the questionnaire provided. Turn it over to Mr. Hammerbock.
James, do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your name and address again.
Scott Hammerbacher, 127 South Bickett Boulevard, Lewisburg, North Carolina, 27549. Staff has received a special use permit to construct a 151-foot water tower located along Mays Crossroads, parcel ID 045385. The applicant has stated the water tower is needed to provide additional storage and improve water pressure east of the site. The applicant has also stated the tower will also provide redundancy in the water system. This subject parcel is located in close proximity to Tarboro Road and Mays Crossroads near Hill Ridge Farms. The subject property is outlined in purple for you. Overall parcel is 3.21 acres, and the location of the water tower is located in the area denoted in green. As you can see below in the zoning map, this area is zoned neighborhood business, and the surrounding area is zoned R30. Land uses in this area include Hill Ridge Farms, Animal Hospital, a strip mall or convenience center on the corner of Mays Crossroads is under construction now. Some of you may have observed additional areas and is low density residential and agricultural uses basically to the north of the subject property. Attached here, we see another summary of this overall requirement or request. And I'd like to also note that the land use plan is to note the subject property is a neighborhood or rural center. Additionally, Mays Crossroads experiences about 3,200 trips per day. Obviously, this use is not anticipated to increase traffic volume. Attached here, we have the site plan denoting the subject property again, the portion of that 3.21 acre parcel. You can see along to the north, there is substantial landscaping as mandated by our UDO for that residential use to the north, which currently is the agricultural use. There is perimeter landscaping and then street trees provided along the front. Inside that landscaped area, there is a proposal for basically a 6-foot chain link fence. There also is a provision here for the dedication of a 20-foot greenway easement. Once again, to be clear on that, this is the dedication of the greenway easement. No construction requirements are set forth there. Also, let me see here. Now, I believe that actually covers the overall site plan, and they are showing basically the fall zone easement going to the south there. This is basically an elevation of what the tower is supposed to look like. And once again, 151-foot tall tower here. And then just additional planning details here. So staff has deemed that this application meets all applicable UDO requirements. We would say that should the board determine an approval of this project, that once again, subject to all UDO requirements, adopted plans, NC Building Code, and also NC DEQ requirements. Approval of North Carolina driveway permit, a plat for the tower site, fall zone, and a 20-foot public bicycle pedestrian easement shall be recorded prior to zoning permit approval. Prior to the issuance of a certificate of compliance or occupancy for this site, we ask that all necessary landscaping be installed prior to doing so. And then also if any lighting is proposed on this or approved, we ask that it be reviewed and be in compliance with current UDO requirements, which would be the same requirement basically at the property line, and it's not shielding onto or shedding onto adjacent properties. I'm happy to answer any questions you have at this time, and we do have the applicant here as
I had
well.
one real quick one was, I know in our agenda packet it said 141 foot. In your presentation, it's saying 151 foot. So
Yes, sir.
does that matter or?
Well, the main thing where that matters would be the fall zone in this.
Okay.
We've just had a little bit of back and forth with the this overall site plan, but the final what you'd be approving tonight would be 151 feet. Now, if it They
That's
determine
what the
at
fall zone
140
based
feet,
on.
we won't bring it back to you. If
Okay.
it come back and it says it needs to be 160, we'd probably say that needs board approval.
Any other questions?
Nope, we just need to bring the applicant up and swear them in.
No? Come on down, or come on up. Yeah. Picture. I think you have to be
Do
sworn
you
in.
have the engineer with you today?
Yes, he's here.
Let's
Peter?
have the engineer come forward. All right, we're just gonna get you sworn in. Go ahead. Yes, the engineer.
Oh, that would be you. That would be me.
That would be you. Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. You will state your name and address, please.
Peter Galen, 916 Reedy Creek Road, Raleigh, Cary, North Carolina.
Okay, you can step forward. If you look up on the screen, we're just gonna go through the requirements of the application.
Okay.
Did you help, you help design this water tower?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, was the use and development, where it's located, designed, and proposed to be operated as to maintain or promote the public health, safety, and general welfare of the community?
Yes, that's correct.
And the use or development complies with all the required regulations of the Unified Development Ordinance in Franklin County, as well as all the applicable specific standards and regulations?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
And the use of or development is located, designed, and proposed to be operated so as to maintain or enhance the value of contiguous property, or that this use or development is a public necessity?
Yes, ma'am.
Would
that's
you
correct.
say that it is a public necessity
Yes,
based
ma'am,
on
it is.
your research?
Yep.
And then the use or development conforms with general plans for the physical development of the county's planning jurisdiction as embodied by our development, our UDO ordinance, otherwise known as the Franklin County Comprehensive Development Plan.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay. And then the location and arrangement of the use on this site, screening, buffering, landscaping, and pedestrian ways harmonize with adjoining property and the general area and minimize adverse impacts.
That's correct.
Okay. And that the type, size, and intensity of the proposed use, including such considerations as the hours of operation, which you wouldn't have any here, will not have a significant adverse impact on adjacent property owners.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay. And that the use of this facility will be able to be adequately handled by utilities, school, fire, police, and other necessary public. Is
Yes,
there
ma'am,
anything
that's
else
correct.
that you want to add to all of that?
No, ma'am, I'm happy to answer any questions from the board or from the public for that matter.
Any questions? Concerns for the engineer here? Hearing none. Guess that's it.
All right.
You may be seated.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, sir. Is no one applied to come speak, but if you want to ask.
Yeah, so it is. It's still a public hearing. Is there anybody here who would like to speak for or against? Or any questions or anything? Now's your time. Please come forward. Hearing none.
Make a motion to close public hearing. Second.
All right, been a motion made, second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We're out of public hearing now. And I think we got two motions up.
Yes, sir. Well, the first one for the findings, affirm the findings of fact have been satisfied. Then the second one would be the board to approve or deny the special use permit with conditions.
All right.
Motion to approve the findings of fact.
Second.
All right, motion made, second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the next one is to approve the special use permit.
So move.
Second.
All right, motion made, second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very
That's it.
much. Have a good evening.
Yeah, you too now. All right. Okay, I have been asked on this at the end of these public hearings here and the unanimous passage of them to entertain a motion to purchase these properties. That's something that has to be finalized so we can move along. And it would be the first one, would be that first one down there, Bunn, beside the elementary school for the EMS station.
So are we gonna make a
Combine
motion to add this to the agenda?
Yes, like
That's fine.
I add that to the agenda.
We need to discuss costs.
No, he's gonna make a-
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Presentation.
Mhm.
I'll make a motion that we, add this to the agenda.
Second.
Okay, been a motion made and second. Any question? Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Mr. Assistant County Manager Brian Preble is going to make a presentation.
Sure.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Concerning the Bun EMS station property, based on the earlier approval of the special use permit, the Board of Commissioners is asked to grant final approval of purchase of 2 acres in the southeast corner, parcel ID 028575, property located on North Carolina Highway 39 South in Bun, North Carolina, and authorize the board chairman to execute the appropriate documents to complete the purchase of locating an EMS station on the site. The agreed upon price is $200,000 for 2 acres of the identified parcel.
All right, thank you.
Now you just need a motion on whether you accept, motion to approve that or not.
Do I
Make
hear a
a
motion?
I'll make the motion approved with some discussion before we take final vote, Mr. Chairman.
Second. All right. Been a motion made and second. Any discussion?
I have a comment.
Okay.
I did, could not help but hear a few, gasps for air. Ladies and gentlemen, make it very clear that for over 18 months, I, along with this board, have been looking for 2 acres of land in Bun to build an EMS station. That is as cheap as anyone is willing to sell 2 acres of dirt. It will allow us to provide public safety EMS service to the Bun community. That's cheap as anyone will come off with some land to build on. I'm just as surprised as you are, but how long do we continue to wait to provide better, quicker, faster service to those in the most in need? Do we wait another 18 months? Do we wait another 5 years? It's just the reality where we are. So I think it needs to go down in the record book that this is not a hasty decision. This is not one that we've sit around and just decided to do last night. This has been a journey of months and even a few years to get here. And the journey continues. So if you know of any landowners in our community that would like to sell 2 acres of land that would be suitable enough to put an EMS station on in your community, please reach out to your local county commissioner or your county manager and let them know that they're willing to sell at a price cheaper than that. We'll be glad to entertain that. I think that just needs to be done.
I'll add to that, maybe if they want to donate some land. There used to be some people do that, and they still do.
We
But,
raffle it off.
Yeah, I hear you. But anyway, we are the county. We,
I just wanted to concur with Michael that being a new commissioner and all, I have been just shocked at how many people we approach, how many parcels of land that we talk, people we talk to in Bun. As the commissioners, we know all about it. We've approached many, many acres or many people about purchasing land for a for an EMS station, and it's just been eye-opening as to if they're even interested in selling it, the prices they want, much over what we're talking about here, much more right there in Bun and close by. So we got a better deal here than we have anywhere else. We've talked to a lot of people.
right? Any other commissioner?
Yeah, I'll reiterate that too. I don't know if you remember Commissioner Shriver when we looked at purchasing the airport property there on 56 back in 2019, 2024
What a
in
miss.
county campus.
What a miss.
And we thought the price was too high
What a
at that
miss.
time. And yeah, we
we
really, we messed up on that. That's the cost of waiting.
We casually look up at one another in these discussions and just go, man, we missed the 140 acres and the things we could have done with that and that parcel and its centralness to things. It's,
No doubt.
it's been, unbelievable. I guess the biggest thing, Mr. Chairman, is to just continue to make it public, here tonight through this opportunity that, while some naysayers may be upset because the county's buying some land,
Let me tell you, that's our future that we're buying this land for, because if you can see, all of us are fussing about the valuations that we've had and what our land is now valued at. Can you imagine what 15 more years are gonna be? What's it gonna cost us as taxpayers, and what's it gonna cost our children? I don't know about y'all, but I want my children to be here. What's it gonna cost our children in taxes? To be able to buy a piece of land for the county to do what they need to do, to provide the services of the parks or the EMS stations. So I think it's very relevant. So, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the liberty to have this discussion.
Okay. Any other commissioner? I'm just going to want to think, you think this one's something, where do we get to the next item?
Got a vote?
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought was my comment, though. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. All right, we have the next piece of property here we need to look at, purchasing. That's for the water tower on Mays Crossroads. So,
Make a motion to add the purchase of Mays Crossroads partial ID 045385 to the agenda, Mr. Chairman.
all right.
Second.
All right, motion made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And I vote no on that one. Well, I vote yes on it, having it put on the agenda. Now comes the next part, is the money part of it.
Thank you. On the subject of elevated water tower, based on the earlier approval of the special use permit, the Board of Commissioners is asked to grant approval for the purchase of 0.48 acres of parcel ID 045385, property located in Youngsville, North Carolina on Mays Crossroads Road, and authorize the board chairman to execute the appropriate documents to complete the purchase of locating an elevated water tower on the site. The agreed upon price is $150,000 for 0.48 acres of the identified parcel.
Okay. So that's what, a third of an acre?
Almost half, almost half.
Almost half for
0.48, yes, sir,
.02, less than half acre.
for
Okay.
$150,000.
Okay. So,
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion to approve with discussion.
second. All right, been a motion made and second. Any discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. So on this parcel of land, this continues to be another challenge to find land in a certain proximity that will best benefit the system, the way it currently functions, and will bring the highest value and strength and capacity in this device, this water tower, this elevated tower, to give the most pressure to the areas that are the weakest, and the areas to give them more pressure where there's more growth. So the county is bound to a specific geographical area to make this work based on engineers like this gentleman that spoke a little earlier who designed something like this. These are the guys and girls that get out here and they have all the mathematical knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to put all this together for us. This is their area of expertise. And then trying to find a landowner willing to sell a piece of land in a defined small area, a radius, a very small radius, again, it's like pulling teeth. The only thing I will ask is just to confirm that this is not your property tax dollars being spent on this item. It's public utility money. Is that correct?
This is actually funded by ARPA grant.
Okay.
This project is funded by an ARPA grant.
Even better. So that $150,000 is not the money of the taxpayers of this county. It comes from COVID money that we have received in the during COVID, I'll say. So this is not going to cost anyone in this room or in this county $1 to buy this piece of land. But it is necessary to be able to have it in this very strategic location to maximize its use and also to maximize the dollars that the Public Utilities Department will spend on this asset to bring the most value to the system, which in turn controls cost to those who are on the system. So thank you for
Okay.
that.
All right, any other comments, discussion on the motion in the second?
I'll just say that, our county's growing so fast and so much, and there's a lot of needs all over the county. And I'm gonna ask the county manager and her comments later on, because I'm always interested in, the EMS in Franklinton and some other items like the new senior center and stuff like that. And we have been having conversations about that and looking at locations in Franklinton And she and I talked about some locations and some things that we might can do that if we jump on it quickly, might get a better deal. So in your comments, if you don't mind, Kim, if you'll talk about that and some of our conversations about it, I appreciate it. Okay?
Okay. Any other discussion? I just have one. I know it was that money, is this ARPA money or COVID money? Well, I know where that all comes from is weed. So that's not something that's being ground up or made, or just anyway, still from us taxpayers. Anyway, that's all I have. All right. Is any other discussion? All right. Been a motion made and second. All in favor? All opposed? No, I vote no. Motion carries. All right. Number 4, action items. Item A, Public Safety Radio System Update. Christy Sharon, Emergency Communications Director, will introduce Ken Steer from Williams Communications to update the board on the Public Safety Radio System implementation. Rebecca Norwood with Tulsa Consulting will also be in attendance. Right?
Good evening. We won't take up a lot of your time. We did not give an update in May, so we wanted to give you a real quick update tonight. So Ken's going to give you an update. Rebecca is in the audience if you have any questions for her, and of course, if you have any questions for me when he gets done.
Okay. Mr. Steer?
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, Madam County Manager. Get our next slide up. There we go. So a few things have happened. We're in the finalization of our site build out. I have 1 tower to stack, which should happen by the end of this month, and 3 sites to finish the actual working around the site itself. You might have seen landscaping has been installed at places like the Youngsville School, over at the Royal School, over at the Epson site. Novo will be coming up, and Moulton, and then of course the New Hope site. So we're glad to have that part of the project coming to an end. Because we had to move the Bund Fire Department site, we're in the process of, or we, the county, is in the process of finalizing the acquisition of land for that site. There was a slight revision that was requested recently, so it's not quite through the wicket. Once that gets done, then we'll move forward with what we call the site acquisition, which is where we have to redo all the certifications with the FAA, the FCC, all those kinds of things. That takes 5 or 6 months, and we'll build that tower, have everything built by early next year, ready to do our optimization and then testing of full foliage come April. The other thing we're working on, we're in the process of putting together a change order for all those changes that we had to encounter in moving the site from the fire department to the Bund High School site. But the Bund High School site's going to be a very nice site. We're very pleased with that site, actually. We have even better coverage off of that site. So that is my report for tonight. Thank you all very much.
Are you open for questions?
Yeah. Oh, yes, sir.
Any board members here got a question for Mr. Ken here?
You guys are always so nice to me when I come down. I've been interesting meetings. Today was a nice quiet one.
I got one.
Yes, sir.
When do you think this system's going to be up, final, and
July
turnable,
next
or
year.
We'll be actually using it?
July of next year.
July of next year.
I mean, we have to wait for this foliage to come back in the spring to do the testing
and stuff.
So that's, otherwise we.
July of next year.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thanks. It's always good to see you all.
Yes, sir. Same
We'll
line.
see you next month. I don't know who's up after me, but I'll get rid of my chart.
All right. Item B, the System Development Fee Report. Christopher Daltrey, Public Utilities Director, will provide an update on comments received regarding the System Development Fee Report prepared by Wildan Financial. Mr. Doherty?
Good evening, Chair, Commissioners, County Manager. First, I want to start off by saying the system development fees, they're restricted by general statute and can only be used in respect to new development or helping new development. If we have to build and expand something in the sewer system, a portion of that will be covered by system development fees because that percentage or whatever is being expended for new development. But the county, first off, the SDF report has been on the website, Franklin County website, and the Franklin County Public Utilities website since the first posting on February 26th, 2024. And it is still there today under the SDF report tab. After posting, we looked at the analytics and we have had 217 views on the system development fee report that was posted. Since that time, the county has received 2 written comments regarding the system development fee report. These comments were forwarded and considered by Wildan, the author of the report, and they stated that no change is needed in the final report based on the comments received. It is the recommendation of staff for the Board of Commissioners to accept and approve the final system development fee report as written and adopt the fees associated with the system development fee report to be effective January 1st, 2025.
Right.
That's all I have.
Any commissioners here that have any questions, comments, concerns?
My question is that if we had 2 comments, is that what you said?
2
What-
comments, yes, ma'am.
Right, are comments not normally forwarded to the commissioners just so we can see what they are or anything? I don't know.
We usually forward them to, this is the first time we had comments, and we forward them to the author of the report since it's his expertise that prepared the report based on the finances that we provided him.
It's like a public comment there.
Yes.
Okay. Was
So we didn't hear those comments. so. It'd probably be a good idea. Yeah, anything we do, we can.
Right, yeah, just for
That's
clarity.
right, because we did ask for, we asked for the comments and for the extended time, and it'd be kind of, it's been both the and
Quoting from the statute, the written comment shall be considered by the preparer of the analysis for possible modifications or revisions. The author of the report gets the comments. Just reading from the statute.
commissioners.
I would say it's not normal, but I don't think the request is unfair. I can't see any harm in us being aware of what the questions are, the source of where they come from, if that's the public that we represent in our individual districts or at large. I don't see any harm in us being aware of them. Do we have the subject matter to refute them or to give collaborative support to them? Most likely not. However, it is considerate, it's a courtesy, I would say, to share those with us, being that they're coming from the public.
I think that's any matter too, not just this, but anything that we ask for public comment, that, we should be forwarded those comments, just so we can read them and be aware.
We'll make a note of that and
Yeah.
then pass it along.
Yeah,
So that
I
can be
have to
taken
agree
care of.
with that. If we're gonna have to vote on something, I think we need to be hip to opinions out there. I came in here prepared to vote no on this because I haven't seen anything, but then I hear from the Boss Brothers and Mr. Tension, it seemed to be an approval, so I'm okay with it based upon their comments tonight. Outside of that, I was not comfortable voting for it.
I've got a question. For the average person, what does that cost them to get hooked to water and sewer? Just a basic.
Give me a moment to look that up, please.
I'm sorry.
This would be for a new construction. These fees are
For-
for when houses are constructed or buildings are constructed.
It would be for new construction homes, i.e. development in these subdivisions and or somebody new building a house on a vacant piece of land in one of the towns or out off of Maze Crossroads. And they decide they want to hook up to water and sewer. If they do hook up to water and sewer, and it's the standard 3/4 inch meter, which is predominantly what those customers use, it will be a total of $6,160 for, the system development fee for that one connection.
Okay, that's both water and sewer.
That would be for water and sewer. And if it's a water-only customer, we take the sewer portion out of it.
Okay, well, that
which at
sounds
that-
like a still pretty good,
Yeah,
fair
so,
deal. Where you
yes.
don't have to put down a well and a septic tank.
Yeah, well and septic, last time I heard, it's been a number of years ago, it's $12,000.
Yeah.
And it goes up depending on how deep you go.
That's for the well.
That's just for the well.
Right. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? All
Make a
right,
motion to approve the action request.
all right, that motion. A second? Motion made and second? Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, item C, substance use and mental health advocacy response team update. Franklin County Sheriff Kevin White will provide an update on opioid funding. Thank you, Mr. Kevin White.
Good evening, Board.
Yes, sir.
Support staff. I have a few of my staff members here also. The opioid funding came under the Sheriff's Office after the March 4th Commissioners meeting. After careful consideration and discussion and review of the document that the county chose under the opioid settlement options, the SMART team was formed. SMART team stands for Substance Use Mental Health Advocacy Response Team. Since March 2024, positions have been formed based off of funding options and existing collaborations within the mental health and substance use provider community. To date, job descriptions have been formulated and all positions have been posted. The social worker position has been filled, and that employee will begin on June 24th. The data analyst position, along with the investigator position, have also been posted, and that position has closed, and the interviews are currently being scheduled. Over the next 6 months, this team will concentrate on integration into the Sheriff's Office and Detention Center and the Franklin County community. Data collection will begin so that the SMART team can best determine options for implementation, service, referrals, and recovery plans. Our hope and our goal here at the Sheriff's Office is to work towards inter-office collaboration along with community collaboration and funding sources to ensure that Franklin County citizens are receiving the services they desperately need. Every 12 months, an update will be given on the strategies and accomplishments. If you have any questions, I'd love to take those, or any of my staff that's here. We've already implemented this. It's ongoing, and we've seen some small successes as it's been a limited rollout. We should be up and rolling very soon.
Any board members? Questions, comments, concerns?
When you say up and rolling, you mean fully staffed?
Correct.
So,
Okay.
Just want to say thank you to the sheriff for being willing to take this project on. This is above and beyond what you already do and your staff already does. So I'm grateful that you, for your willingness to do it.
Sounds like you have a big job ahead of you. Getting all these folks help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Board.
That's all we just received the update. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right. Item D, Board of Equalization and Review discussion. The board will discuss next steps regarding the Board of Equalization and Review. I'll open that up to the board members here for discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I continue to be concerned. I've probably been one of the loudest voices on this board regarding this whole evaluation process. And I thought about the best way to try and describe this process, and what I've concluded is this process is deliberately and intentionally set up to disadvantage the taxpayer. That's what I believe. You sit back and look at the timeline of how things are put together. You look at the dates of when things are available and when things are no longer available. You look at the schedule of how it's implemented into the board's agendas. You look at the times of the notices, when they arrive in the mail, and what is and isn't disclosed. It simply is that. I have an 83-year-old gentleman with 55 acres of land. I personally went online, like everybody can do on the county's website, went right across the street and found 55 acres of land across the street. And another 55 acres, 3 parcels up. Those parcels of land were valued at $26,000 an acre, and his was valued at $97,000 or $96,000 an acre. What makes this 55 acres of land sitting just north 60 feet away from the front property line of these other properties any more valuable than the other? Is it because on the same side of the road, there's a parcel of land that was sold for development, for commercial property? Is it because it's on the same side of the road, it's on the north side of the road, it's the south side of the road, it's 60 feet on the same side of the road? I don't know. But to go from $788,000 to $5,005,000 is unconscionable. This 83-year-old gentleman didn't know what to do. I just happened to have an appointment on April the 9th. No, sorry, April the 2nd. I said, sir, if you'll come down, meet me at 9 o'clock. Do you know where the old tax office is? Yes, sir, I do. If you meet me down there at 9 o'clock, I got an appointment for an hour, and I'll gladly give you the first how many ever minutes you need. We'll get through your few parcels you got. And just like Mr. Gupton, in that same room, that same environment, spit and spoke with Mr. Pearson himself, who concurred that this was a pretty large increase in valuation, and that they would look into it. This gentleman just in the last 7 days called me. He just got his evaluation back. The change of notice was no change. The $5 million remained the same. How could that be? It's unconscionable. We have a duty as the governing body of this government to be sure that things are decent and orderly. And I realize to the Franklinton town, to Youngsville, to all the towns, that this does make you a little nervous and uncertain, and I totally get that. But what's more important? To stop an attack on the very people that you take an oath to protect, or to be a little nervous that you might not be able to put something together towards the end? I don't know. Either way is not a good way, and either way is not ideal. But at what point do you stop the madness? This is the fourth assessment that I've been privileged to be a part of, that I've been a property owner to understand and appreciate what's going on in 18 years. 6 years ago, it was tricky, and 6 years prior to that, it was tricky. But when you've got, like Mr. Gupton said, you've got elderly people in this community that this has been their home and this is their land, and their taxes are going up 7 times. Let me give you just a quick number in my head. It's $788,000 at 78 cents on the dollar. We're talking $8,000 in taxes a year. It's going now 7 times that. That's what's that, $56,000? Not let alone any elected official, but anybody with any small bit of conscience would pause if they were in a leadership role and say, wait a minute, we can't go forward. We have got to work this out. Regardless of what headwind is in front of us, we have got to pause and we have got to figure this out. And guess what? Together, if we'll work together, if the towns and the county will work together, we'll figure this all out. And we'll do it becoming stronger as a government entities, and we'll be stronger as a community. And at the end, we'll have a heck of a lot better result for the citizens that we took an oath to be here to represent. So I appreciate the concern from the law enforcement community. Chief, Captain, I've known you for a long time. Chief, I haven't got a chance, privilege to meet you. But I'm also a retired law enforcement officer, 21 years. I get it. But where do you draw the line? You got a duty. You got a duty to act in leadership. The key is don't give up. The key is to keep pushing. Find that pathway. Find that different approach. At the end of the day, to tie that bow and make it work. So I realize there's some nervousness in the community about that, in our towns and some other places. But what do? Raise an 83-year-old man's taxes $48,000 in 1 year on just one parcel? I'm gonna have a hard time sleeping if that's the case. I've been working on this in great lengths, and I've talked with several of the commissioners here, on and off over the last few months. And it's my belief that we need to take the time to get this right. I think we need to keep the Board of Equalization Review open to allow people to make appeals through October. That will give everybody a chance to work through understanding what's going, those that don't have access to things, the elderly that aren't capable or aren't certain to find help to do so. And it will give the government 2 more months at the end, November and December, to hear their final appeals. In the meantime, bring all the appeals that are currently on the books and let's start having hearings. Let's work with the staff to figure out a better schedule. 3 nights in 1 week to get it in, because we've got to get it done by July 1. Again, we're not here to make the same mistakes we made 6 years ago and 6 years ago before. The real opportunity in front of us is to figure out how we're going to do it better and to make a plan and an exit strategy so that next year we've got a better plan in front of us. Instead of the same playbook that we went to the playoffs the last time with, hoping it's going to work again. And come home to the fans and the team disappointed yet one more time. Heads hung low, no trophy in hand, no title to bring home, no billboard to put up on a billboard that we're the champions. We rocked this. We brought our best effort forward. So I know there may be other comments, but I hope that this board tonight will seriously consider leaving the Board of Equalization Review open until the end of October. Work with the staff moving forward to get some dates on our calendars, like every 2 weeks or something. And let's take the real time that's necessary to give the people of this county a chance for their voices to be heard and their concerns to be heard regarding this tax evaluation. I'll leave this final thought. I appealed one of mine. It was a vacant lot I just bought 3 months ago. The value was more than what I paid for it. I hadn't put a wood frame house on it yet. It had a building value of $150,000. I brought that appeal to Mr. Pearson himself, along with that gentleman, that 50 or 83-year-old gentleman with the 55-acre lot. I got a notice back a week before he did. You know what the status of mine was? I'm going to say mine. You know what the status of this county commissioner, because it ain't about Michael. You know what his status change was? No change. No change. I had not begun to build a house, maybe a foundation, but certainly not $150,000 in value. No change. I've said this before, and I'll say it again, and you'll hear it from me again past tonight. If this is what a county commissioner is getting in its county, what are you as the citizens getting? Thank you for your time.
Okay. All right. Any other commissioners?
I have, I agree with Mr. Shriver's comments. I've been pretty vocal about this too. And I realize the towns may have some uncertainty ahead of them, but we have a responsibility all the time, rural and in town. And I believe it was unfair and just a lot of these appraisals, and I agree with extending the time.
Is that all you have?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other commissioners?
Just want to say I agree with extending the time as well. For the same reasons as stated.
Okay, sure. Any other commissioners?
When do the tax bills go out? August, 1st of August?
End of July.
Is there any way to put that off until later? See, that's the problem that I have with it, is the people that are gonna be receiving these tax bills with a higher price on them, before they have a chance to appeal. I have some concerns about that, as well as the impact on municipalities. I'm really not ready to, cast a vote either way. I think we need more discussion. I would certainly like to, like you say, work with the towns and figure something out in the next few days, or week or so. We don't have time, but in the meantime, we need to push forward and have these Board of DNR meeting.
Yeah.
Hear these people. Let's get this number down, whatever it takes. I mean, I'm available. And that's something I wanted to ask our attorney here. In order, it seems to be a scheduling problem with this. In the event that we as board members can't be there, can we appoint a representative to be in our place?
Yeah, there's counties that do that. They appoint private citizens to do that. You're right. But we've never done that. The commissioners have always, in this county, took the role of the Board of Equalization and Review, and I, for one, would like to keep it that way, instead of delegating that out to who knows who. Right, we might have the same thing we got going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about doing a completely different board of appointed people, but if some of us couldn't, could we appoint?
Oh, you mean in the absence of a commissioner?
That's right.
I think it has to be either all the commissioners or all of a different kind of board, but we have to have a quorum for
Okay.
commissioners.
I understand that.
Right.
As far as quorum is concerned for the Board of ENR, is there state law that dictates that? Or is it a rule? But that's a rule, that's our rule,
Okay.
right?
Well, no, that's
Okay.
I know it's my opinion we need to get on this system, Board of ENR, here pretty quickly. We don't want to just, we've got people already wanting to do their appeal, and we need to get together and let's start having the Board of ENR instead of just saying no to them. I mean, we need to, and I agree, I'll sit here till December if I have to, hearing people, but I want to be hearing people. I don't want to be just delaying it for a month or two and not hearing from nobody. I want to, right, if the appeals run out, then we'll adjourn.
I think one of the requests that was made was that we get a more consistent schedule and go ahead and schedule things out instead of waiting 10 days or 7 business days and say, okay, we're going to do this next Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Y'all ready?
Well-
That's not always attainable by everybody on that type of notice.
Okay, we're all sitting here right now. I've got my calendar open. We could start right now working to when we can meet.
How many, appeals do you have?
Yeah.
So that's one of them. And so how many do we really have without? Huh? Under a,
You still have 218 partials that you have to consider. Is that what you're saying? There's 218 partials that have been appealed. Right. 100 are commercial.
but 70, however many is just one person.
Yeah.
One company.
Most of it's just individual.
Right. But
So-
under 100 individuals.
Yeah.
So Commissioner Rank, so what happens is, it's like hearing a case, like you're the judge or the jury in a courtroom. You have to hear each one case like we just did tonight, one for EMS station, one for the water tower. It's literally that process for all 70 partials. You can't bundle them all together and just talk about all 70 and
Right.
make a decision. You have to do each one.
Individually.
Yeah, individually.
Okay.
So
Which is telling me that it's given all of our citizens another step. If they're not satisfied with their results, they have another step to come to us. All they've got to do is come forward. And I know that this board is reconvened once a year. So they can come back at any time, every year, they can come back when we reconvene if they miss this time. So it's not locked, they're not locked. If
I
they
think
miss this time.
Yeah, I think it's just more the timing of it. Like the gentleman I gave you the description of, that was just last Tuesday. or Wednesday morning that he called me. He had went to his mail. It's Monday morning. He went to his mailbox Monday morning, 10-ish, got his mail, called me at 11. So here's this 83-year-old gentleman last Monday. You know, so what if he's got doctor's appointments and things like that he can't meet in the next 7 or 8 days? I mean, you can't just say, we got to push it all right now and get it done because we got to meet the July 1 deadline. We're going to have to extend this out in order to give it its due care.
Yeah.
And I'm all for a schedule that we can put out in front of us, you know, that gives everyone adequate time for an open calendar to commit to the time. It's just when you give short notice and go, come on, we're ready to do it, because again, we opened our playbook. I'm being a little disrespectful, and I apologize. We opened our playbook what we did 6 years ago and doing the same thing against the same opponent that beat us last time around. And that's just not helpful.
But if I'm trying to understand when we send our tax, we won't send our tax notices out?
No, my thought is that we're send the tax notices out, and then as the appeals come before the Board of Equalization Review, the board makes a finalization on what that value will be. This tax assessors in every hearing, the tax assessor can then go back and for those values can reissue a tax bill and mail it back to them as the current one that's still not due until January 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th, basically, which gives everyone a chance to get, to get the time they need to address these.
But does that work? Hearing? I'm trying to understand.
Ms. Caston, you can come to the podium.
Yeah, come to the podium.
Yeah, please do.
Since we're asking you all these
Yeah.
questions. And how does that affect our municipalities?
Well, it would depend on how many parcels were in the municipalities, but when you got 55-acre tracts of land, most of those aren't in towns. They're in peripheral areas where there's no town taxes. There's just county taxes because they're beyond that corporate limit situation. I'm not saying there aren't exceptions. I'm certain that there are a few in there, but I would say 95% or more would not be in town limits because none of our towns are really that large geographically to support.
So are there notices sent out and they go ahead and collect their taxes?
I can't, well, yeah, I mean, the taxes can be collected once the bill goes out, depends on when the person pays it. Towns, I believe you have a drop dead date. Yours isn't until the end of the year. Yours is September?
Actually, the taxes are due September 1st per statute.
I'm aware of that. I'm aware they have till January to pay them, but towns do something different.
Interest-free.
Yeah, but the towns do something different. Your drop dead date is when? Do you know? That's not the question I'm asking. The question I'm asking.
When's the due date? Last day of due date?
Yes, I would agree that tax bills go out. The question I'm asking you is that when your tax bills go out, you have, they're due, final due without being quote unquote literally late or delinquent.
Yeah,
It's
right,
January?
just like ours are. Yeah, right, same thing. Okay, Ms. Cascone? Question for her?
Well,
Okay.
I was asking, our tax notices, even if we keep on hearing,
Yeah, the tax bills are scheduled to go out the end of July.
so they will go out in July.
Yes,
but
ma'am.
We will still hear people's property and.
We will have hearings as long as we have appeals to hear.
Okay.
Yes.
Without extending the day, or with it.
Well, you haven't adjourned yet. So we're looking for an adjournment date for you guys to set. And whether we're adjourned or not, we will continue to hear the appeals that we have.
So the adjournment is just the process by which we say, okay, this is the drop dead date that you can appeal. It doesn't mean the Board of Equalization Review doesn't continue to work and hear the hearings. The adjournment date is the date up until that time that you're able to appeal your property values.
Correct. And the Board of
continues
Equalization
to
Review
meet
convened.
until all appeals have been heard.
Right. And the board convened on May 20th. And on May 21st this is when Kristen and I sent out this schedule to see when all the commissioners were available, because I had to let you guys know that not only do we have to consider that, but also when this room is available. So the dates that we scheduled for the 12th of June, the 18th and 19th and 20th happen to meet all that criteria.
Do you
Obvious-
have people scheduled to come to us?
We did on the 12th, And we had, yes,
had to call
we
them
had
all.
to call them all and cancel, and one
Right,
taxpayer
canceled
was coming
everything
from
else.
Texas, so they had to cancel their flight.
Yeah.
So,
But this-
we didn't schedule anybody for this week because we weren't sure what the board was going to be doing.
So you don't have any scheduled appointments this week right now?
We don't,
No,
because you
because it-
called me to
No
cancel.
quorum.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, I mean, you gotta have a quorum, 4 or more
I
commissioners.
would have appreciated you sharing it
Right.
with me when we talked on the phone, because you didn't share with me information. There was that there were no appointments scheduled, but nonetheless.
You had appointments
So,
for,
there's no
for
need
two-
for us to try and
anyway,
do these
the 12th.
meetings this week because there's no appointments on the
well,
books.
it's too late. We've already had to call it off. I mean.
Well, we didn't call up something we didn't schedule, that hasn't had an appointment yet.
Okay, but let's move it on. We can sit here now and get some dates going. We've got to start somewhere. We don't want to wait a month or two and finally eke out a day. We got to start. And we've done this in the past. We met one time for 6 whole weeks. Robert Lee Swanson, Jimmy Gupton, but down in the old county office building, 4 days a week, 5 days a week. But we got through it, just like we always have. But you got to start it. You don't want to put it off.
All right.
Why, I don't want to do that. We need
Tuesday
to.
the 25th,
we-
sir?
We got calendars. We can start picking the dates right now and let's get them going.
All right,
Okay,
25th of June. I don't know how everybody else is.
okay, what day is that? The
Next
25th?
Tuesday. That would at least give the citizens a week notice that they have an appointment. Or an
Okay.
opportunity for appointment. I mean,
Okay, you say June 25th.
Now,
Yes,
keep
sir.
in mind, commissioners, we are required by the statute to advertise the hearings 10 days before the hearings, which we did
Okay,
previously.
so we got to go out 10 days.
Got to go out at least,
Okay.
well,
At
plus
least
a couple of days
to get it in the
for
paper.
publication.
So we have to go to the 27th.
No, sir, if they can't get it in the paper, cutoff date for the paper would probably be
The cutoffs
Tuesday.
are Fridays for publishing legal ads.
so this 21st of this week would be the cutoff date, so we wouldn't get it in the paper until next Wednesday, the 26th publication, then 10 days from the 26th.
Right.
So 10 days from the 26th puts us the week following July 4th, which puts us the week of July 8th.
Okay,
The 9th would be a Tuesday. I mean, I'd make a recommendation, we do it like every Tuesday, once a week, every Tuesday at a set time. You know,
It's gonna
that's-
take more than that.
yeah, you're going to have to get
Yeah,
a
we're
2 or
gonna have
3
to
days
make
a
more
week
than
in
that.
there to come on and get
Okay.
the load
Sure.
down.
Sure.
I'd say
Yeah,
if we're
look,
looking at that
Ninth.
second week in July,
Yes,
we
sir.
go ahead and start picking the dates so we can get them advertised.
All right,
And if
the
we run out of appeal people, we can always close it down then.
Might I suggest we coordinate with Kristen like we did the last time
Right,
and
okay.
pick dates
Let's say we
and
pick a
then
few now to
send them
get
to
it out.
everybody?
Yeah, please do, yeah.
Okay,
Can we make
that's
the-
fine.
Can we make the notice broad that we'll start this day and appointments will be made throughout the period of time beginning July 8th through December 31st?
We need to specify
Well-
the dates, sir.
We have,
We need to specify the dates.
the week of the 8th,
July the 8th.
July 8th. All right, well, we can at least get a note out
Yeah.
for the ones.
July
coming,
8th,
and
we
then
have a
can-
commissioner meeting.
Yes, sir, so
Yeah.
we can't do it that night, we
No.
can do it the following Tuesday.
So-
night.
That's right,
The
9th,
Do it
10th,
on
and
the
11th.
I thought you said
The
you're not.
county attorney won't be here that week.
The county attorney's normally not in our board of.
No, that's never had to have her, we've never had to have legal advice.
Staff attorney can come.
Huh?
We have that luxury now.
Yeah, if we really want one, yeah.
Okay,
Okay, the 9th, 10th, and 11th. All right? I mean, only 4 of us have to be there. It don't have to be the full 7 member, but we gotta have 4. It won't work without a quorum.
okay. I can clear my calendar for the 10th and be there.
Okay.
Are we doing 6 o'clock?
Yes, from 6 to 9.
6 to 9.
There'll be 6 appellants per
Okay?
30 minutes
And we
each.
need to look on to the next
And the
week,
the
next
11th.
week and the week after.
Okay, well, the 9th, 10th, and 11th, I can push the 10th and 11th and clear myself there. I have enough notice, I can reschedule those things.
Okay. And we're gonna confer with the other commissioners, make sure they can do that.
Anyone else?
I'm good with those 3 days.
Okay?
Okay.
The 9th, 10th, and 11th.
I'm good.
You're good? Mr. Shriver?
I'm good, yes, sir.
Mr. Bunn? Okay, sounds like we got a quorum for them 3 days. Now
Just to
let's
let
move
y'all
on
know,
to the,
you don't have to work around me on this. I'm committed to do it, and I will make it work.
Thank you,
okay,
sir.
sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Okay, all it takes is 4. Not all 7 have to be there, but we gotta have at least 4.
Man,
Okay, moving on
tell
to
you
the
what
next
it is.
week. Okay, the 16th, 17th, and the 18th, that's a Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
I'm out those days.
Okay, but maybe I can do it.
I can do Tuesday and Wednesday. I can't do Thursday, the 18th. 16, 17.
Excuse me, Commissioner Shriver, what days did you say you could be
I
there?
can make 16 and 17 July work.
Okay, thank you.
I cannot make 18 July work.
Okay, well, how about we can make it up with somebody else? So
Oh,
all we
absolutely.
need is 4.
I'm just sharing my
Okay.
availability only.
yeah, like I say, I can make any date you need.
Okay.
So,
Mr. Pierce?
I'll do it.
Okay. That's on the 18th.
16, 17, and 18.
Okay. Mr. Speed?
yes.
Okay.
I'm in there.
Mr. Okay, well, that's good, because I can do it too.
I'm supposed to be out.
Okay, but sounds like we still have the 4, the quorum, to make the 16th, 17th, and the 18th work.
Commissioner Bragg, did you say yes to those dates? Thank you. I'm assuming we'll be notifying Commissioner London about these dates?
Yeah.
after the
And
meeting?
while we're here, so we keep ahead of that advertising deadline,
Yes, sir.
let's go one more week.
Okay.
23rd, 24th, 25th. That's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Who can, who can't?
I can do that.
You can do those.
I'm available that far out. I'm
You're
available.
good? You can do it.
So, what other kinds of planning? Aren't there some nights we have?
Yeah. But just, but,
That's right.
Right, we'll figure that out.
all right,
Okay,
yeah, we'll find a place, yeah.
we can figure that out.
All the buildings we got, we can do something, yeah. Okay, so, we'll go over this again. July 9th, 10th, 11th. Going on to the next week, July 16th, 17th, and 18th. And then going on to the next week, the 23rd, the 24th, and the 25th. All
Understood.
right, let's make this work. That way we can get on through these appeals.
Yes,
We
sir.
don't have to worry about Christmas and, well, Christmas is good. though.
Yeah.
Christmas.
Let me,
Not doing tax appeals in Christmas, but
let me ask this.
Okay.
Would there be any reason that we couldn't adjourn this, Board of N.R. upon completion of the
yeah,
25th
when we,
and have the option to reopen if any others
I
pop
think
up?
once you adjourn,
Once you
that's
adjourn,
it.
you adjourn.
Okay.
Attorneys.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
So what was in the notice that was already put out?
So you're saying yes, that we could extend it if need be?
Yeah, if we still have more
Yeah.
appeal people.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I'm
we'll
saying.
definitely want to do it, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
If we don't finish up.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Well,
Whatever
this
comes
group
first.
here, I think she said, Marion, didn't you say 6 per meeting?
Yes,
Or
sir.
maybe 7 or 8,
40.
maybe.
What, 42
Yeah.
for those 9 meetings?
Yeah, let's go 7 or 8.
40 something.
And remember too, Mark, that we will re-adjourn once a year.
For
So
next
it's
year.
not like we're closed completely. We will be adjourned once a year.
Oh, yeah, I'm just concerned
Between
about
now
the
and the next
taxpayer
revow.
getting these bills with those higher
That's right.
prices before they've had the
We meet every
opportunity
year.
to appeal.
Well,
That-
we eat on
That's
Or
what
can.
concerns me. You know, I'd like to avoid that chaos.
54.
And if I
Okay.
might add, the notice that we published stated the board will meet for subsequent meetings on June 18th, 19th, 20th, and is expected to adjourn on June 20th.
And
That's what the notice said that we published.
if we could extend
Well, we can't really say when we expect to adjourn.
Yeah,
Till we
yeah.
hear all the appeals.
Yes, sir.
It
Then
has to
adjourn.
be, well, just because.
Okay, go ahead.
So, Mr. Foy, you do have to go ahead and put in the paper when you plan to adjourn. So it's part of that notice.
I have
It's-
I have
so
a
we'll have
question.
to
If
pick an
we put
adjournment
in there October 31st, and we get through this in mid-August, and we've gone through all of them, and nothing new has come in, or there's only been 5 that have come in,
Right.
and we've heard them too, can we make a motion to change the adjournment date and
Or
then make
adjourn
that
early.
publicly known?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So I would rather just let it go ahead and be October 31st. Let's work through what we have, and when we get to the end of our body of work, if nothing else is out there and nothing's really trickled in,
Yeah.
then we inform the public, hey, look, we've kept this open. You know, if you really have a need, please come down. We're gonna, you know, we're moving this up because we haven't had any more public input, and consider adjourning it, 30 days from this notice or
Yeah, as long as you put the notice in the paper that you plan to adjourn it, and
something, 10 days in advance.
How will that
Even if we don't adjourn till October 31st.
Yeah.
If
get all
we
this
don't,
done,
if people can continue to submit for an appeal, and then we'll have to hear those appeals that were submitted later and later, so we expect to probably hear them into November, December. Obviously, will have effect on the taxable values. The Department of Revenue doesn't recommend, even though they do say in the statute that you can extend until December, the Board of E&R, but they do not recommend it because of exactly the same thing some of the people said here tonight.
But we're gonna keep on hearing appeals till they're done. I don't want somebody to say, well, I don't want mine heard till 4 more months later. I wouldn't want that.
Right, and
As
that's,
soon as they can get a chance to get on that schedule, that's when they come up. They can't, like,
Right.
say, I don't want to be heard until 3 months later.
and just so you know, in a
Un-
typical
unless it's
non-reval
booked
year.
up.
Right.
Right.
Right, sir.
Right.
And in a
If it's
typical
not booked up,
non-reval
they need to
year,
get in there.
in a typical non-reval year,
Mm-hmm.
the Board of E&R is adjourned and convened in 2 weeks, typically.
Yeah, right.
So we've been convened since May 20th at this point.
All right.
Okay?
Okay.
Thank
Okay,
you very
we got the
much.
first 9 days of it scheduled.
And October 31?
We can, yeah. Right. And if we
Thank you.
get done with it beforehand, we'll
Move it up.
adjourn then.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
so can we
Right.
vote on that just to be real clear that we're gonna plan to adjourn on October 31?
I'll make that in the form of a motion.
All right. Been a motion made and second. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? No. No. Okay, 1 no. Motion carries.
No, there was 2 no's, I think. Were there 2 no's?
Yes,
That's
yes,
right.
ma'am.
Okay.
There was 2 no's.
Speed
yeah.
and Bragg were the 2 no's. Okay.
All right. Our next item is E, Public Utilities Ordinance. Christopher Doherty, Public Utilities Director, will prevent changes to the Utilities Ordinance. All right. What we got? All right. All right. Chapter 34 of the Code of Ordinances. Mr. Doherty, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much. Good evening again. The item before you is to amend the distance requirement to connect to public water and sewer. Both of these sections are within the Chapter 34. Or actually, Section 34 of our Code of Ordinances, Section 34-69 and Section 34-212. It will read that major subdivisions and non-residential development are encouraged to connect to public water and sewer, and removing the distance requirement.
Now, just my question for this, if somebody's like wanting to build some houses or do a subdivision and they can't get allocation, so they'll be allowed to do some other way of getting water and not be restricted like it is right now.
According to the way
Yeah,
we're
yeah, they'll
recommending.
be able to do like 3/4 acre, 1 acre lots depending on the soil
Okay.
suitability. and
But they can
continue to build
still
homes.
develop their
Yeah, they can
land,
still develop their land, and the
Right.
county doesn't hold them kind of
restricted to
restricted.
being county
Well,
water.
the county
Make
can't
them
provide them water.
Connect to public utilities, right? Okay.
Any other questions, comments, discussion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
The motion made and second. Any discussion again? All in favor? Aye.
Okay,
All
okay.
opposed?
So because we don't have a complete board here, we'll have to have a second reading
What?
because we're
Read it
missing a
again then.
board member.
No,
No, no.
another, next
On
time.
At the July 8th
Okay.
meeting, there'll be a second reading. It's either ordinance changes are either unanimously passed with everyone here, or there's a second reading.
Yes, it's right here, consider approval, but anyway, we'll
Okay.
wait till the next meeting.
Yeah, we will bring that back at the
All right,
Same thing.
July meeting.
all right, we'll see you then.
Thank you. Yes, we will.
All right. All right, moving right along here. Item 5 is appointments. Agricultural Advisory Board. The board is asked to appoint Brandy Edwards, Sandy Creek Township, and to reappoint Natalie Farmer, the Cedar Rock Township, Mason Horton from the Dunn Township, and Ed Wheeler from the Youngsville Township for 3-year terms. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion made, second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Board of Health, the board is asked to reappoint Betsy Hunt, registered nurse, for a 3rd and final term. The term is 3 years.
So move.
Second.
Motion made and second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. All right, Planning Board. Commissioner Danny Pierce is expected to reappoint Melissa Cagliata for a term that would expire December 2024.
Move for approval.
Second.
Been a motion made and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. And before we get off appointments, I have one that I passed out earlier, was for the Airport Commission. His name is Mr. Eric Combs. And I'll put that in the form of a motion to put him on the airport board.
Second.
Second.
Been motion made. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, that takes care of appointments. Item 6 is board, manager, and clerk comments. I'll start with Ms. Kristen King.
No comment.
No comment. What about the county attorney?
No comment.
No comment, okay. Commissioner Bunt,
I have no comment.
Commissioner Bryant.
I attended the first, I guess, annual Funky Town event this past Saturday in Franklinton, and it was a total success.
Good, good.
It was a lot of fun, everybody had fun, lots of music, lots of vendors, lots of stuff going on. A lot of people in Franklinton Saturday.
Well, good. That concludes your report. Commissioner Pierce.
No comment.
No comment. Commissioner Speed.
No comment.
Commissioner Shriver.
No comment, sir.
I'll turn it over to our county manager, Ms. Kim Denton.
Thank you,
Yes,
Jim
ma'am.
McFoy. I just want to say again, thank you to all of the staff and all of the folks who contributed to getting our budget prepared, and to the Board of Commissioners for ultimately moving forward with the budget for fiscal year 25. Again, there's a lot of activity that goes into getting ready for the next year, closing out the current year that we're in as we prepare for a July 1 start for the new budget. So appreciate all of that support. On the agenda tonight, as has already been noted by the commissioners, 2 very important projects, an EMS station, a long discussed EMS station over in the Vaughn area. And so delighted to bring that project to the point that it is at tonight and continue to move forward with the public safety needs of the county. And then again, water and sewer, public utilities continues to be very much a need in the county, and moving forward with the elevated water storage tank in East Youngsville is really a big move ahead for the county in terms of public utility infrastructure. These things don't happen by chance. There's been a lot of hours of staff time, consulting with engineers and talking with folks, but these are items that have been on the books, planned for a while, and so delighted to be able to get to this point. And to Commissioner Bragg's request earlier, again, the needs continue, and so the EMS study that we conducted back in fiscal year 22 laid the foundation for determining the hot spots and the activity where we have call volume and the need for EMS stations throughout the county. And so we're continuing to study that. First phase was getting the Bun station and a safe station in the more central part of Franklin County. And then we will move on to the next stage, which is looking at the Franklinton area and studying now the hot spots and what's going on with EMS and what other areas in the county. So this is not the end. This is the beginning as we work to deal with the growth and make sure that citizen services are provided in an appropriate fashion throughout the county. So again, appreciate all the support, all of the staff time that went into this, and we will continue to bring these matters before the board as the board directs to respond to citizen needs. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Denton. My report is, I know Franklinton, the Post 52 American Legion is having another fundraiser. They got a nice trailer over there they're selling tickets to. Anyway, it's going to be held on August 13th is when they'll have the drawing for that utility trailer over there. So help them out. They do a lot of good work over there. The people that have already served during the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and they're serving again today to the community that they're in. And real proud of that bunch. It's a real gung-ho bunch, Post 52, which I'm a member of, yeah, also. And just like to thank the board here for working together to get this board of E&R going. It's something that we've got to do. It's our public duty to do this, to get this straightened out. Anybody in the audience, you know of anybody that's having problems with their evaluation, get them on up there to go to that board of E&R. Can't do nothing if you don't appeal to it. So, and we, the commissioners, we sit on that board. So that makes a difference in us appointing other people to sit in our place. But other than that, I have nothing else to report. I'm moving on to item 7, which is close.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Say I heard the quality of that trailer was questionable.
Well, I recommend you see Commissioner Foy on that right away. Oh, the buck stops here on that one now. We give lifetime warranties on them.
I just want to say, I know our Franklinton people are here, and
Yeah.
just to expand on what Kim has said, that Kim and I, and we've been talking, some of the commissioners also, about Franklinton and the needs there for the EMS station. And we do have a couple of sites, so we're talking about some sites there.
How much money?
We don't know the
Yeah.
money yet.
All right.
We were talking about it. And the need for the Senior Citizen Center too. We do know those needs are there, and we are making future plans for that. Just to let y'all know that since y'all are here. Okay.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to item 7, which is closed session. The board is asked to enter into closed session pursuant to the following North Carolina general statutes. The first one is NCGS 143-318.11A3, attorney-client privilege communication. Item 2, NCGS 143-318.11A4, industry economic development. The third bullet or third item is NCGS 143-318.11A5, real property purchase, contracts, and leases. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move to go into closed session.
Been a motion made?
Second.
Motion made and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
No. Good. Well, 2 noes and 4 yeses. Okay. All right. we'll be back out in just a few minutes. Carries. Now, you want to go ahead and?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Foy. Thank you for recognizing.
Mhm.
Have a motion to authorize the county manager to sign documents to fund additional $1.2 million for Project Flight to continue work while awaiting for funds to be received from the federal government for this grant-funded project.
Right. Right. Any discussion? All in favor? All likewise? Motion carries. Oh. Second? Right, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed? No. Man, motion carries.
I go on record, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
I go on record, Mr. Chairman, to say